Welcome to the Okinawa Rush Review. And feel free to like and subscribe for more. And how refreshing it is to have a game that feels retro and modern at the same time. With a nice story and a great intro, the game keeps itself feeling fresh with a simple but varied combat system. And with a jump and an attack and a special attack, you can chain combos and use direction to perform attacks in different directions and in the air, and even do super attacks like fireballs and uppercut flaming punch things. It does take a little bit to get into it and used to how this works, as it kind of feels more akin to like an MK game where different directions does different things, but more side-scrollily as you would expect. But don't worry about learning how to do all these moves, there is a full training tutorial to help you out, and even like a rhythm game kata type thing that you can do as well, which I thought was pretty cool. And also, thankfully, there is a difficulty setting, because I found the difficulty that was default was really difficult and was glad that I could put it down a peg or two. And I could only wonder what sort of magnificent person would go through this game on the very hard level. As for things to do, well, there's plenty of pickups and also captures to rescue along the way. Some you simply free, and some are actually in swinging cages that you have to knock the cage down before you can rescue them. But even then you have to like hurry, because they get dragged or flown away by other creatures before you can even rescue them from there. A hero's job is never done. And while we're on the subject of creatures, well, you do get your normal kind of ninja sort of like bad guys, but you also get bats, worms, fish, yep, fish, and trust me, many more, adding to the enjoyment of the game as you progress. And whilst we're on the subject of progression, please do explore the levels, as there's many secrets and people to rescue, and you can even go into caves and buildings. You get 3 characters, all that can be put up and also played in 2-player co-op, which just adds to the longevity of the game if you have some mates round. As you progress through the levels, there's weapons you can pick up, like swords, polearms and nunchuckers, and these can be used for combat or just thrown at enemies. There's different modes that you can play the game in, like arcade and normal story mode, and also within these actual modes there's other things that unlock as you progress. But I found the game did have a few weak points. The bosses, while I thought were really well designed and thought out and really good to fight, some of them bugged out here and there, with their kind of special mechanic not working quite the way I believe it should have worked. And likewise, some of the actual creatures in the actual game would get stuck in scenery like a building and sort of like just do weird stuff. The jump, while you can jump really high into the sky and find other places, adding that little bit more to exploration, sometimes when you're jumping onto actual smaller platforms closer to you, it's almost like you kind of like teleport to them rather than actually jumping to me. It just feels slightly off somehow. By no means a game breaker in the slightest, I just thought I'd mention it, as there aren't really that many bad things about this game. And yes, I suppose you could say that you could call it a little bit repetitive, but I was having far too much fun, so it didn't really bother me in the slightest. And trust me, there is enough weird and strange things in this game, like elusive dreaming and other, well, very strange and weird things going on as you progress through the game to keep you occupied enough not to get bored. The good, it is all voiced.
Is that you?
I also thought this story was pretty cool, and some of those mechanics and the like were really fresh, and you know, the fact that you have to unlock some of the different modes and mechanics as you go along was pretty cool as well. As mentioned, I do like the fact that there's like different modes as well, like the arcade, and a few more surprises in there that's best left to discover for yourselves. The bad. Some bosses not feeling quite right, the enemies getting, and not many of them, but still some getting stuck in places, and the jump mechanic from time to time not feeling quite right somehow. And as for that all-important score, well, I'm going to give Okinawa Rush, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, a whopping great 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this game, and still enjoying this game actually, as I felt there was quite a bit of replay value within the game. Also, there's the chance that you can go and speed run levels as well, as there are timers for the end of each levels. And with co-op added into the game, well, it's just the icing on the cake. And if you have any thoughts on Okinawa Rush, leave them down in the comments. That is of course where they belong. And as for my alternative, well, I'm going to suggest you go and play the demo. Yep, there's a demo for this game and it's well worth going to check out, because obviously if you're into this genre and you're on the fence, well, you might just change your mind by playing the demo, of course. And with that, any other thoughts, leave them down below, as you know. And why not hit that like and subscribe button if you've enjoyed this video, or indeed any of my other videos, to be kept up to date on all my latest content. And remember, every time you hit that like button, you're doing the channel a favour, and every time a new subscriber comes along and hits that subscribe button, you also are doing the channel a great big favour. And in return, I try to put out the best content I personally can do. And if you're after more switch head shenanigans and you like to chat along with everybody else, well, come along to the community Discord. The link is down below, because life is better when we switch together.